welcome. And I'm going to say it one more time because I'm so excited. Welcome to the Citizen Father Podcast. I am your host. My name is Guy Bowling. I'm a father, I'm a grandfather. I've worked in the community with fathers for 30 plus years. I'm a graduate of the University of Minnesota. I got a couple of degrees in terms of my education, but more importantly, I have the luxury to be able to not only be a father and a grandfather, but to work with a community that supports the importance of fathers. So, with that being said, welcome. So glad you're here for the very first show for the Citizen Father podcast. And I'm going to talk a little bit about what that is. What is Citizen Father? What is a Citizen Father podcast? And then we also have a topic for you today. And the topic specifically today for this show is, can we learn to be good fathers? And we're going to have a couple of special guests that are coming on to contribute to that conversation. In addition, you're going to learn a little bit about them, and they're going to talk more about some work that they're doing in the community. And hopefully it'll be a big treat for you. And we'll converse and have a dialogue about why we have Citizen Father and Citizen Father podcast. So Citizen Father actually started as a leadership initiative of a program that I overseen for almost 25 years as the original founder, pioneer in the fatherhood movement called the Father Project. It came about as a result of men in the program who was able to overcome barriers that prevented them from being involved in the lives of their kids, both financially and emotionally. And once they got on their feet and got stabilized individually as well as their family, they wanted to give back to the program, and we really didn't have a way for them to give back. And they kept continuing to say, how can we help you now that you helped us? And these are thousands and thousands of men that I had an opportunity to work with over so many years. And so we created a leadership component that included what we call Citizen Father. And it's men who came through the program, who have a testimony, who accomplish a number of things in the program, the programmatic requirements, and then ultimately wanted to develop a platform to be able to share that information and do some things civically and engaging themselves in the community in addition to the program. And we created Citizen Father. And it's basically professionals and citizens came together, and we came up with addressing an issue. And the issue we came up with in terms of what we wanted to do, because we had no clue what that would be, what that would consist of. And we just had meals over about a year, every other week, talking about what are the issues in our community. And the issue we came up with is, how come a lot of us grew up without fathers, and then we didn't even see fathers in our community, and let alone have any examples that we can follow or role models. And so the men that I brought together was about 20 men at the time who had all completed the program requirements and all got on their feet and all became stable and was there for their kids. They said, well, we didn't see those fathers. We knew they were there. And they said, but why don't we just become those fathers? And Eureka, Citizen Father was born. So Citizen Father is a group of men who wanted to give back. And they decided to tackle an issue about how come we didn't see fathers. So they decided to become those fathers. And what they developed was a presentation to go and talk to all different audiences within the community, from moms and dads and prisons and professionals and faith congregations and people who were willing to hear their messages. And they developed about 6 key messages they wanted to talk about. One of those messages we're going to talk about today with one of our Citizen Fathers who is going to be a guest. And one of those messages is, can we learn to be good fathers? So that's just a little bit about Citizen Father and the Citizen Father podcast. And the podcast is, we're going to come to you regularly and things about fathers and the importance of fathers and everything from current events we're going to talk about. We may even get into some politics. Also, we're going to talk about social media and what's trending, and then just specific topics as it relates to why it's important to be involved in the lives of your kids. And lastly, I'll say is, we're going to also talk about career paths and resources that are available for fathers as well. So I say, buckle up, sit back, enjoy, relax, and hopefully you'll get you're in for a treat. You'll get some information, and hopefully you can pass it on to others. So with that being said, I want to bring on my first guest, our first guest of the Citizen Father podcast. It's a colleague of mine who's been a part of the fatherhood movement for a long time. I've been knowing him since I've been involved for about 30 years, and he has a story to tell, and he's going to be on with me shortly. He'll tell a little bit more about himself. He can do a much better job than I will. So I'm allowing him to come on and talk to him about himself. So please join me in welcoming our first guest to Citizen Father Podcast, Mr. Anthony Tunstall.
What's up, guy? What's up?
What's going on, brother Anthony? How you doing?
I'm doing good. Let me just first by saying, like, when you said there's a lot of stuff going on, there's a lot of stuff always going on with me. Just so happened I'm at work today because I couldn't get off to be at the specific time. You know me, I like to be transparent and honest. So I work at the airport. Air Force One has just landed. That's going on back there. I had to pick the room that had all the noise. I thought I came in the quiet room, but Air Force One is out there. Everybody's going crazy. So I might be muting myself in and out and be like, what the hell is going on? That's what's going on with me. It's just always something going on with me. So with that being said, I think he's gone. President trying to take over my shine, but that ain't going to happen today. So we're going to get him out the way. So that's current news happening right now. You know what I'm saying? At the Minneapolis airport.
Whatever it takes.
So whatever it takes. Whatever it takes. And I say, look, being a citizen father is being up and showing up. And I said, I'm going to be here regardless if I got to be at work or not be at work. Got coworkers coming in. We got everything. So if you see things that I'm at work, just let you know, the show must go on.
Multitasking. Just multitasking. Go ahead, brother.
Yeah. No, but that's how it is.
So tell us a little bit about yourself, brother. I know who you are, but who are you? Tell us about your background, brother. How you got here?
It's kind of hard. It's kind of hard to talk about yourself, but I'm a father. My son is 25 years old, named Moses Zod. I've been doing the father involvement since he's been born, from the DNA test all the way to him being 27 years old right now. You know what I'm saying? Just being there. I worked at the Father Project. I work with guys facilitating parenting groups. I do plays. I do movies. I do podcasts. We are Emmy-nominated podcasted. You know what I'm saying? That too. And it's just a host of a lot of other things. When you start talking about yourself, you're like, man, it sounds like I'm bragging. I'm doing all that. I don't like really doing all that. But I do a host of things, but mostly it's around fatherhood now. I travel a lot. I use those travel components to go talk to fathers in other parts of the world, get their perspective on that. And I just watch father movies. I'm a movie buff. And I just try to keep fatherhood in the forefront of what I'm doing, because that's the only thing that's made some sense in my life and made me a little bit more concrete on who I am. As a man without a kid, you'd be thinking, well, am I really doing good, or where am I at? But my son has gave me a level of understanding of me as a person. You say, hey, this is how far you come, this is how far you develop, and you all right. You might not have everything, but you all right. You know what I'm saying? And the work that you put in with my kids, with my son, I'm now seeing that come back forward. Like, wow, he did listen. He is paying attention. He doesn't, as a dad, you want him to do everything you want. He's like, I want you to get everything, but they got to grow and develop. And that's part of what, how can we be a better father? Just learning how to meet them at their developmental stages and help them understand that even though they're making decisions for themselves, they have to do that. Even though you don't agree with that, you have to just guide them. So in this part of my son's life, he's 27. I told him between 27 and 32, I'm just going to be advice to you. I'm still going to be your dad, but I'm just going to be the counselor guy for you right now. So when you come to me like, Dad, I'm like, hey, man, no dad stuff. What do you need me to do? What would you like me to help you get through this process? And he's like, well, why are you doing that? Because I want you to separate me a little bit to see that I'm not in competition with you. We ain't got to be adversary, but I'm here to give you some guidance on some things that you see me as your dad. Because sometimes they see you as your father, and they're like, that's his dad. But if you see somebody as a counselor, you go, okay, he ain't my dad. He just giving me some good advice. And if you take it, that's great. If you don't, that's good. And I don't have, as a father, I don't have the guilt to be like, man, he didn't listen to what I was saying. Like, nah, here you go. Here's the information. I know you're going to do the right thing. And if you don't, we'll have this conversation another time. So That's me all in a nutshell. Yeah,
Tell
so
me a little bit. It sound like you've had 27 years of practice, brother, and I'm pretty sure it didn't come with a textbook, playbook, training,
no,
all
no,
that. A
no.
lot of it was on the job training. So let me ask this, and I can hear the fire in your voice, the passion in your voice. About when you think about it, and even when you think about your son, it just brings a smile over your face, like you're smiling right now, brother, because I know you're thinking about kind of what that's meant for you and how important that is for you. But tell me about your frame of reference and how you grew up. Did you grow up with your father? Did that have any influence or any impact on you in terms of the type of father or the type of father you had hoped to be or ultimately became? Or tell me a little bit about kind of how that was for you coming up.
Well, for me, I know I didn't grow up with my dad. You know what I'm saying?
Mm-hmm.
Like some of the kids that grew up in the '60s and the '70s didn't have a dad because for whatever reason,
Mm-hmm.
and I didn't know. My mom didn't really speak about it. Hey, every time I ask about it, you don't need to know about him. I'm like, okay, I don't need to know about my dad. Okay,
Mm-hmm.
okay. And as a kid, you know, you just take it for granted that okay, she telling me the truth, she not lying, whatever. That's what it is. And then when
Mm-hmm.
you get older, you realize, oh, there's some other dynamics.
Mm-hmm.
And the reason why
Success Express Marketing Solutions presents your virtual video podcast studio. Let the Success Express team help bring your podcasting dreams to life. Here's what we do. We help you come up with show ideas, design graphics for your show, set up your podcast studio, and run the back end of your show. So what do? Be ready for your show. Make sure your guests are ready. Log into the virtual studio, turn your cameras on, and go. Not sure you're ready to go live on a monthly or a weekly basis? You can get the Try Us Out Success Special. It's only $97 with free design setup. All you got to do is try us out, and I guarantee you're going to want more. So get set up today with your virtual video podcast studio from Success Express Marketing Solutions. So go online to Success Express MKTG, and we'll get you set up today. Sign up now and get our free ebook, Modern Podcasting, that'll
All
so
right. Well, let me before you go back
so
to what you were sharing, Anthony. I apologize. We jumped into our commercial break a little prematurely, but we got to pay the bills. But with that being said, Anthony, please continue to share your story in terms of what influenced you growing up with your dad.
so I like my favorite movie is The Transformer. Is the scene in there when you go, can you explain all what's going on? The beginning, middle, and end. Beginning, don't know my dad. My mom didn't tell me about him. It's always been a secret mystery about him and everything. And when I asked about it, she was like, don't worry about it. Middle. When you get older, you start looking around and seeing stuff. And then there's a guy named Mr. King. There's a guy named Mr. Davis. My friends had their dad. Some of they had their dad. So you'd be around these men, and you'd be like, man, this is cool. But we didn't have a dad figure so much. We had men in the community that just was cool, and they teach us stuff like fixing cars or just hanging out. You just pick up stuff as you go. So indirectly, that's kind of like a fatherhood kind of thing, but they wasn't our dad. And then the end is I learned that my mother didn't always want to tell the truth about my dad,
Mm-hmm.
you
Mm-hmm.
know. And so unfortunately, she passed away. She didn't really give me a lot of information. And so what I learned is that I, I just know what I felt when I was a kid. Like, man, it'd be nice to have somebody to come to the school, pick you up. And I had a stepdad. He did what he could.
Mm-hmm.
And so he used to come get us with my sister and come take me around and do some things. So I seen that. So jumble all that together. My experience has been, man, when I get older, when I get a kid, I'm not going to do that because you just know what that felt like.
Mm-hmm.
And so now 20, 25 years later, I have a son. He had a brother, right? I used to pick him and his brother up, take him to McDonald's and do all these things that my stepdad used to do to me. Then I had friends who had kids that I realized that if we all are friends, are like kids should be friends. So just not even trying, just let's all put together, your kid together, my kid together. Let's be friends. You know what I'm saying? And so my kid grows up with one of my friends. And they've been growing up since they was 3 years old. So they've been knowing each other. They friends. You know what I'm saying? Not just slap by my friend of 20 plus years, his son, my son, they friends. So, you know, indirectly, I've learned some father stuff. And then I went to the ECFE, learning fatherhood development, you know, just educational development with kids, going through parenting classes. I learned that all the stuff that I wanted to put on my kids, that I wanted to see happen because my dad wasn't there, that all had to get shifted, worked out, so you can be a good father as far as just development of your kid. And so I had to learn all that stuff, man.
Yeah.
And it was hard. And it was bitter because they didn't, my baby, the mother of my son and his grandmother put up opposition for me to see my son. And so it was a battle. And I was at a point in my life where I was gonna say, well, let's buy into the stereotype. I'm gonna ring up the stereotype. I'm gonna buy it. And I'm gonna carry it with me because you know what? Everybody else got it. Let's do it. So I was gonna leave and be like, nah, I ain't gonna. I see you when you get 18. Find me. I get a new family. I move on.
That's right.
But then something, you know, it was a conviction. I don't know what it was, but it was like when I first seen him, I looked at him. You know how you trying to look at your baby, trying to, you know, I don't know if you know movie Life. And when he put the baby up and trying to look and see who it is. I tried to do like that. Got the baby. I'm like, okay. And I looked at my son. I said, "You my son, huh?" And without hesitation, he just looked at me and said, I was like, okay, is that a sign or something? Took the DNA test, 99.963% mine. You know what I'm saying? And ever since then, I said, I'm not going to allow them to steal away from me what was stolen from me from my mom because I didn't have a relationship with my dad. And I just say, if my dad was here today, I wouldn't be mad at him. I wouldn't be upset. I'd just be like, yo, let me get some popcorn. Let me hear the story because this is going to be good. And do I got any other brothers and sisters? Do I have anything else? So that's pretty much for me, man.
Yeah.
And so that's why I do this work.
It's Iran. Yeah. In terms of what has influenced you to not only be the father that you are, but also can care and contribute to the work of fathering and fatherhood programs, in addition to in the media and writing plays and all those things that has impacted you based on your own personal experiences, right? And it started for you, it sounds like, as a kid, in addition to not knowing all the details about why your father wasn't there and mom didn't get into all those details. And mom, you know, and I'm almost certain, brother, and correct me if I'm wrong, I don't want to give away your age, but if you were born at all within the 60s, the turbulent 60s, right, into the 70s, that's when the break of the family started to happen for a lot of us in terms of fathers not being in the home. And it's for a multitude of reasons. And some of them you mentioned, and some of them you didn't know about, and you didn't even learn about until much later, even to say what you just said. But also, I think, you know, that was civil rights, and you know, you had almost we lost a lot of our leaders, and they was doing COINTELPRO to break up families and watch people and break up organizations. All that stuff was going on, and then you had the economics going on, people moving to other places for economical reasons or for jobs. It's just a lot of reasons behind the breakup of the family. And then mother was left, or grandmother was left, or a combination of both was left to take care of the children. And you didn't get all those details because back then adults just didn't discuss that type of stuff with you, so you didn't know. And you might not even realize it until you got older and realized I need a man. Some of those things that you're saying, and so, but it also helped you understand as you became a father and went through some similar experiences yourself, that there's a couple of sides to the story here, right? And then I think the other thing is that a lot of us who grew up without our dad, unfortunately, we say to ourselves, or dad wasn't perfect, right? If we're honest sporadically, we say, if we ever became a dad, or when I become a dad, I'm gonna make a commitment to myself that I'm not gonna do what he did to me because I know the pain of not having him in my life. I'm not gonna do that. Until you realize as you get older and become a father, it's one thing to say that. It's another thing to do that because it takes a lot of training, it takes a lot of understanding, it takes an under navigation of systems that some of them were designed to hold you back, and figuring all that out in spite of that. So I appreciate you sharing that story, brother. And I think, one of the things I want to do is bring on one of our guests that we have here today, who is another treat for us, and why we even created this podcast, period, for citizen fathers, as far as the citizen fathers as leaders. And this gentleman I would like to bring on after this commercial, a brother by the name of Michael Russell. He is an actual citizen father, and I would like for him to come on and share a little bit about citizen father and a little bit about his story, and we'll get a chance to meet him on the other side of this break. But thank you so much, Anthony. I'll see you on the other side of this break. All right, we're back. Welcome back to the Citizen Father Podcast. I am your host, Guy Bowling. Joining me as our initial guest was Mr. Anthony Tunstall with ATP Productions. He told us earlier that he's actually coming to us live and direct from work. And he's here and he's available, but he's also multitasking at the same time. So thank you again, Mr. Tunstall. We had a chance to chop it up a little bit with Brother Anthony. That's a new word I learned from my nieces, chop it up. That means kind of converse and engage in dialogue. But with that being said, I won't go on too long. I'd like to introduce our guest. I almost said in the studio, but we're not in the studio. We're in the virtual studio. But with that being said, I would like to bring up our next guest, Mr. Citizen Father, Michael Russell. Welcome to the show, brother. Michael, I know you may have had an opportunity to hear a little bit about what we've been talking about thus far on the new Citizen Father podcast. As a citizen father, tell us a little bit about yourself, brother Mike, and tell us a little bit about what it's been like for you being a citizen father.
Okay. Well, thanks for having me, all. First of all, when it comes to myself, I was introduced to Citizen Father via the Father Project. The Father Project is a program that works with fathers and families to obtain emotional connection, economic stability with your children. And so, with the Father Project coming in, brought me there with getting genetic testing for my youngest child, and then from there learn legal rights, co-parenting, things like that. Getting everything squared away about 2009. About 2010, I was able to start volunteering for the Father Project, the Citizen Father, which the leadership component of the Father Project. Guys in the community coming together to kind of give back to the community. And so, me, father, 2 children, 18, youngest one just turned 15. On the 21st, 2 girls kind of grew up in the program. My current role, I am a case manager for the Father Project. Been doing that for several years. Citizen father, again, my role is to get to out the community, anybody who will hear the message about fatherhood and the importance of fatherhood as it relates to the family.
Okay. All right, brother Michael. Tell us a little bit about, I know you're so modest, brother. You have accomplished so much. When you came to the program, you were dealing with some barriers, some challenges, because that's what the program is all about, reducing or eliminating barriers. And then you accomplished a whole lot in the program, even before you became a citizen father. Tell us a little bit more about kind of what you was surprised that you were able to do, what you actually did do, and why you want to give back to the program as a citizen father.
One of those surprises coming into Father Project was learning that as a father, I had rights, and I could execute those rights if I went through the process. Fair or unfair. That was very surprising to me. And also that there was a program out there that supported fathers and families. And so my biggest accomplishment was being able to get the joint league of physical custody and the parenting time of my children, and being able to get the co-parenting to work out and work that out and be
Mm-hmm.
involved from a going through the program, again, getting various trainings. Parent group facilitator training was a big one. Learning how to actually facilitate the groups, which I
Mm-hmm.
currently
Mm-hmm.
do. Various educational, continuing learning education credits via various partnerships, legal aid, i.e., paralegal, things like that. It's just been a blessing.
Wow, wow, just a lot. I know. Again, I go back to I know how modest you are, brother. But I'll pull the spotlight off of you, brother. But thank you for sharing that. But also, too, Michael, before we get into the messages of the citizen fathers, because the group itself that we're all leaders, and citizen fathers all about leadership development of men, right? Not only to just be responsible fathers, but responsible men and giving back to their community. um, Before I asked you to share a little bit about, we created 6 messages that we share with the community through presentations that I was talking about earlier in terms of what Citizen Father is all about. And it took us about a year to come up with the messages that we wanted to send out to the community about fathers and the importance of fathers, and a lot of the things that Anthony even addressed in terms of, a lot of this we didn't get a lot of information in terms of training, or a lot of you know, we didn't have a plan. It wasn't something that we were actually went through formally and just knew we just was going to replicate that plan. A lot of it we had to learn on the job, and we had to learn based on what we could reference. And if you couldn't reference anything, you really was just kind of flying by the seat of your pants. So before we have you share a little bit about one of our 6 messages that we created for those audiences, I'm going to ask Anthony if he has any questions for you before I turn it over to you to share the information about one of those messages.
Yeah, Mike, you thank you for being on the show. Hey, so you mentioned parent groups that you facilitated. Can you tell me, when you was going through the program versus you facilitating the program, what was the developmental change that you saw in that while you was going through the class and teaching the class? What did you get out of that?
For myself, it began with self accountability. What is my role in all this as it relates to the breakdown between parents? We can control so much of the other party, but what's going on with me on my end? What could I do on my end to be as involved and as engaged and as supportive as possible? And so that's the big I got from the groups, and what I actually should be focusing on. How much of it is distraction, how much of it is actual benefit to the children, so on and so forth. And then the support of other fathers going through various stages of having connectivity and access to their children.
Wow, wow. Did you, Mike, as you've been able to pass on this knowledge and information to others, obviously, to your peers, right? From what you've learned and what you understood, but also to the community at large, and allowing yourself to share your story, right? I've always believed that the power of conversion is a testimony. When you have had an opportunity to share your story with those audiences that I've identified, that we've set up to go and talk to, who want to hear our information, one of the messages we came up with amongst those many, many meetings we had, Mike, every couple of weeks. And when we first started Citizen Father way back in 2007, we came up with, we wanted the audiences to know, of professionals or moms or dads or even youth and kids, about fathers. Like Anthony was saying, a lot of youth, didn't know why their father wasn't involved or not involved. They don't know all those stories. Mom may not have told them. So we got messages for youth, but more specifically, one of our messages we came up with is this something we can learn? Can we learn to be good fathers? Say a little bit more about why we came up with that, Mike, if you don't
mind. We knew that we can learn to be good fathers, and two of the sub bullet points on that, we all have something to learn from one another. The idea is not every individual has all the answers. So I don't have all the answers, but if you combine everybody, you can get a general consensus. As you work with more dads and work with more community, you come up with some solid answers that fit best for you and your situation and your community as it relates to your family. Um, and then we can break out of the box and be a well-rounded parent. Typically, historically, fathers have been looked at more as just economic providers. Don't do anything with the emotional, don't do anything with child rearing. As long as you're earning the money and covering that piece, that makes you a huge success. And so the idea is now you actually can be well-rounded. You can be involved with your child emotionally. Give them an emotional connection to you as well. You can get down and play with them. You can take
mind?
them to the parks. If you have girls, you can sit with them and do some of the tea time things, the things that little girls like. As we know that when it comes to especially daughters, you're in essence their first relationship with a man that they're going to really recognize, and that can begin to lay the foundation. With boys, same on how to even conduct themselves as a man, and so being well-rounded gives you a better ability to connect on all those points. And so that's kind of two of the messages we share under that bullet point.
Yeah, that makes me think about, and we're going to go to a quick commercial break here in a second. But before we do that, I want to ask Anthony. It makes me think about, Anthony and I were blessed to be able to start a podcast a couple of years ago. He blessed me just to come on and be a guest, and then he asked me to help support him in hosting, and he ended up pretty much doing all of it. But the name of the podcast that we had a couple of years ago, and we were Emmy nominated. I'll basically definitely say it, throw that out there. Evolution of Fatherhood. And so when I think about the evolution of us being fathers, and I think about what you just said about learning to be good fathers, I say to myself, like I'm pretty sure all of you could attest to, is that we're always learning on how to be a better father. We're always learning on what that means to be a good father. We're going to go through trials and tribulations, and we ain't always going to get it right. And I think when you're a younger father just starting out, you want to get everything right, but it's impossible to get everything right. You learn as you go. And I say all that to say, and we'll probably be doing this as a future topic, learning to be a father is one thing. And so now I'm at the age, I'm in the age where I'm a grandfather. I'm learning on how to be a grandfather. You two brothers ain't there yet. Y'all too young. Y'all ain't there yet. So y'all ain't grandfathers left, but I'm learning how to be a grandfather. And it reminds me of the type of father that I was and how I was so obsessed with getting it right. And now as a grandfather, I'm not as obsessed with getting it right. I want to try a number of different things to make an informed decision in terms of how to fulfill that role as a grandfather. And part of what I've learned is just to be patient. With that being said, let me thank you, Brother Michael, for coming on the show. Our first ever Citizen Father podcast. It has now come to fruition. We have been talking about this for a long time as an extension of Citizen Father, which was a component leadership-wise of the Father Project. So, brother, I can't tell you how much we appreciate you coming on and sharing your story. And we definitely got to have you back. But before we move on, brother, I'm going to ask Anthony, did you have any additional questions? Or Michael, where can folks find you if they got any questions about Citizen Father or Citizen Father Project? But before you say that, Michael, Anthony, did you have any last questions for Brother Mike or thanking him for coming on?
No. I just say thank you, man. And when you say, learning that stuff, learning about being a father is not stuff, but learning about that, I think about my love for movies, right? Mm-hmm. And so I don't know if my dad loved movies or not. I know my mama ain't a movie person, so I got to get it from him. But then I think about the movie Claudine. And that's what sums up all these different things, you know what I'm saying? it was a scene where he said, I don't know if I want to be the dad. They're taking child support out of kids. I don't know.
Mm-hmm.
But at the end, he realized that you got to be the papa. If you don't bring the bread home, you don't be nothing else. You got to be there with the money. And too many times, fathers feel like the financial burden is just so overwhelming that they don't want to be a father. So when Michael said, learning those things and learning how to be confident in yourself and teaching and getting that information from the classes that you teach, I just think that that's amazing that you was able to do that. And I was a facilitator, so I see the look in their eyes when they do that, and they go, "Wow, man, I get it. It's not about the money. It's about really investing time in your kids." So I appreciate that, Mike, for you saying that. And I believe that citizen fathers is very much needed, and you represent that 100%.
Absolutely. I'm gonna say this, brother. Don't make me tear up with the movie Claudine, brother. A lot of folks who don't know that movie. It came through the 70s. We have some younger folks out there where their parents might know about it, their grandparents, but that was a heart-wrenching, tear-jerking movie starring Diana Carroll, mother of 6 kids, single mother, who had a gentleman who was courting her that wanted to be involved, but she's like, I come with the whole package. I ain't gonna spoil it for people. Go rent it, YouTube it, whatever. That's a great movie. That's a great movie. And one of my movies that I love, but I won't get into it. So, Michael, how can folks catch up with you? How can folks find you?
Right now, still doing case management at the Father Project. And so you can reach 612-724-3539 and then ask for me. And then we kind of discuss, see what we can help you with. Again, if we're operating currently out of the state of Minnesota. And so if you're not in the state of Minnesota and you need resources, you can still call or connect with me. And then we'll go from there. So we can connect you with in your state.
All right. Well, thank you once again, brother. Appreciate you. And we will see you next time, because we're definitely going to invite you back, brother. You got so much information that you can share that'll be beneficial to our audience. So thank you again, brother. And we'll see you soon.
All right. Thanks for having me, y'all.
All right. And what we're going to do, we're going to go to a quick commercial, everybody. And then we're going to come back after this commercial break. And Anthony and we're going to check out and tell you what's coming up, what's going on with him, what he's working on. And then we're going to tell you a little bit more about the next show. So with that being said, we'll see you on the other side of this commercial break. All right.
Hi, my name is Kijano Owens. I am co-founder of Success Express Marketing Solutions. Our business is cultivating more business for your business. I want to tell you real quick about our program that is one of the most comprehensive business development online marketing support programs out there, which is the VASP, VASP, Virtual Assistant Support Program. This system allows you to operate and run your business while we help monitor and help you cultivate more business for your business online. Contact us at 909-686-1698 and visit us online at successexpressmarketing.com. Look forward to helping you take your business to the next level.
All right. Special shout out to Success Express and brother Kijana Owens. We appreciate that, brother, as well. He's part of the production team that makes us look, I guess, well, Anthony's more handsome than me, but he makes us look good, makes us look, it's like we know what we're doing, like we're professional. So we appreciate that, brother. At the same time, before we go, I just kind of want to wrap up. Thank y'all for tuning in today. Our topic today was, can we learn to be good fathers? We have special guests today, and Mr. Anthony Tunstall with ATP Productions. Again, I'm Guy Bowling, your host of Citizen Father Podcast, and we also had an actual citizen father here, Mr. Michael Russell, and we appreciate the great conversation we had with both of them brothers, and we will continue. So hopefully you like the show, you got some out of the show, and you'll continue to tune in for the show. And so just know we'll be coming continuously to you with information all about fathers, all about the importance of fathers, and all about why fathers need your support, in addition to why fathers are one of the largest untapped resource that we have in our community as leaders. And we've talked a little bit about that, how we came to be. And trust me, tune in. We'll be talking more and more and having a whole lot of fathers come on the show that represent different sectors, public, private, nonprofit, business, certain careers, certain professional positions. We'll have all of that. So you heard just a little tiny bit today. So let's know that's coming. With that being said, I just can't contain my excited. We ain't got through the first show, Brother Anthony. And I believe, we did okay. But with that being said, how you feel about the show today, Brother Anthony? And thank you again for being our guest, our first guest, as a matter of fact.
First of all, you know me. I will talk about fatherhood to now until Juvumbo, forever. You know what I'm saying? We talk about that every day. It's just a great opportunity for you to showcase citizen fathers. I mean, Evolution of Fatherhood podcast is good, and it's in the entirety of the evolution, which is what you're explaining. And I like to just archive what we're explaining. That's what the evolution of fatherhood is about, just to archive these different stories. But being a citizen father, being an actual father, and being in the society of fatherhood puts another dynamic on that. That's another name. Citizen father. You got to step back and go, wait a minute. Citizen father, what is that? Well, what a citizen father is me being a citizen of the United States of America or any other part of the country or the world that you live in, and being a father. Now, you put these two things together, that's a powerful thing. So now I care about my community, which forces me to be a father to society, and then it helps me be a father to my kid. So even if I'm not a father to my own kid, I'm a father to somebody else's kid indirectly. You know what I'm saying? And so that's the most important part about a citizen father. So I'm excited about that. Anytime we talk about fatherhood, yay. That's what I like to do. And then with that being said, this show's good, man. We all start off right, but this is the first. You know what I'm saying? We get better, we do things, but the most important thing is you started Citizen Fathers Podcast, which was greatly needed, still needed, always needed. And people are like, well, you just tooting this horn. Look, you can never have enough father podcast shows. Never. Because those fathers that's coming up behind us, under us, and in the future need to have a reference to come to see things. Whether it's for me, you, or anybody else, they need to have a reference to go, well, I don't really know, but you know what? I heard of this podcast long time ago. You know what I'm saying? Kind of like Kevin Samuels. He's no longer with us, but they sure is looking at his videos now. They sure looking at it now. You know what I'm saying? When he was doing it, he was the bad guy. And so Citizen Father, Evolution of Fatherhood, and all the other fatherhood podcasts out there and TV shows are references to us saying, hey, I want to do things. With that being said, like Bill Cosby, he went through some stuff. His content of his show about being a father is the most nuclear thing that we have in the 21st century. I don't know if you remember Courtship of Eddie's Father. It's about a father that had a single dad raising up a son. That's beautiful. Family Affair. You know what I'm saying? Proud Family. Just all these different shows that show fatherhood in a different light. And they need that. So they all, and what's funny about that is that they all were citizen fathers without even knowing it.
Right. Thank you,
so
brother.
I'm happy about the first show.
Yeah, well, I appreciate you, brother. And again, thank you so much. Nothing but love for you, brother. I appreciate you coming on the first inaugural Citizen Father podcast, contributing, of course, and many things that you're working on. Anything coming up for you specifically that you're working on?
Well, yeah. Next. Well, a couple of things. Thinking about rejuvenating my play, rebooting the play that I'm a Deadbeat Who, which guy was the lawyer. He's in there. He'll tell you that he's an actor as well. You know what I'm saying? He's in the play. I got another podcast that I'm working on with some video stuff to making independent artists. Got an event coming up November, the Friday, Black Friday after Thanksgiving. Got that coming up. And I got an interview with a celebrity that I'm going to share next week. I'm going to keep that on wraps, but people know what I do. I'm on red carpets. I'm hobnobbing, doing things. That's only to get the father information from them so they can give us good advice on being dads and what it means to them. And so I have a video interview of somebody that we who was recently in town, and I want to save it for the next one so you can have a reason to tune in to the Citizen Father podcast show. That's all I'm saying. If you don't tune in, I don't know what to tell you, baby.
So you trying to tell me, brother, as we wrap up, and we got a video we want to play before we end, talking about taking a leap of faith and going after God designed you to do, what your purpose is, why he gave you gifts, and ultimately how you can fulfill that if you take a jump or you take the leap of faith to really get into your opportunity to be able to not just be safe, but soar in terms of being able to fulfill your purpose. So with that being said, brother, I just want to say to you once again, what you were saying earlier was pretty profound in terms of, your love of movies. How many good movies are there out there? We already talked about one in terms of Citizen Father podcast that you're saying there's so many, but how many good ones are out there and can be out there that we're just part of a field of good people, just like good movies that are out there. There's way more than one. There's way more than one good book, way more than one good song. There's plenty of room for this information to continue to be saturated within that community of folks that believe in the importance of man and father. So with that being said, brother, I'm looking forward to this under wrap stuff that you got that you're going to share with our audience in the future, brother. I know what's coming. You ain't
top secret.
Exactly. So with that being said, our next show is going to be focusing on managing fatherhood and entrepreneurship, and we'll have special guests on father and son team. As a matter of fact, we're entrepreneurs, Mr. Billy Hill and Deontay Hill, and so they'll be the next guests on our next show focusing on that particular topic. So with that being said, I want to say thanks again, brother. Check out this video on the other side of this, and we will see you next time. And again, take care, peace out, and we'll see you soon.
Every successful person in this world has jumped. I'm going to tell you what I mean by that. You are going to have to jump. You cannot just exist in this life. You have got to try to live. If you are waking up thinking that there's got to be more to your life than it is, man, believe that it is. But to get to that life, you're going to have to jump. Now, I'll tell you why I call it jumping. See, God, when he created all of us, he gave every last one of us a gift at birth. He never created a soul without endowing them with a gift. You just got to quit looking at gifts as running, jumping, sing, and dance. It's more than that. It's if you know how to network, if you can connect dots, if you draw, if you teach. Some of y'all fry chicken better than anybody else, bake pie. Some of you cut hair, color hair. Some people do grass. I got a partner, man, never wanted to go out with us because we stayed out too late. Come on, man, go out with me. Now I got to get up early, mom, cutting Miss Johnson grass. We kept laughing at this dude, cutting grass. How much they pay you? He got a landscaping company in Cleveland worth $4 million. Because all he do is cut grass. But he was gifted at it. I got a partner on a detail shop, make $800,000 a year detailing cars. He got 6 mobile trucks running around. $800,000 a year. All he do is detail cars. That's his gift. That's what he loved to do. You've got to identify that gift. Now listen to me. When you see people in life, when you're standing on the cliff of life and you see people soaring by, you hear about them doing wonderful things. Maybe you look up the street and your neighbor just gets a car every year, every 2 years. You know, how is he doing that? Have you ever thought, maybe this person right here has identified their gift and is living in their gift? Because your Bible says, your Bible says your gift will make room for you. Your gift, not your education. You go get an education, that's nice. But if you don't use your gift, that education only gonna take you so far. I know a lot of people got degrees, man, they ain't even using it. It's your gift. But the only way for you to soar is you got to jump. You got to take that gift that's packed away on your back. You got to jump off that cliff and pull that cord. That gift opens up and provides the soar. If you don't ever use it, you're gonna just go to work. And if you're getting up going to work on a job every day that you hate going to, that ain't living, man. You just existed. At one point in time, you ought to see what living's like. But the only way to see what living like, you gotta jump. And here's the problem. I'm gonna just be real with you. When you first jump, let me tell you something. Your parachute will not open right away. You're gonna hit them rocks. You're gonna get some skin tore off on them cliffs. You're gonna get all your clothes tore off. You're gonna get some cuts on you. You're gonna be bleeding pretty bad. But eventually, the parachute has to open. That is a promise of God. That ain't a theory, that's a promise. His promises is true, because listen to me. You cannot name one single thing God has not gotten you through. Name it. And if he ain't got you through it, he currently pulling you through it right now. And the living proof of it is you sitting in here. If he hadn't got you through it, you wouldn't even be here. So if he ain't never not got you through it, why would he not let your parachute open? It has to open, man. You can play it safe and deal without the cuts and the tears. And you can stand on that cliff of life forever safe. But if you don't jump, I got another promise I can make you. Your parachute will never open. You'll never know. You'll never know what God really has for you. See, your God has a wonderful life for you. Once again, I'm going to refer to your Bible. Now, you go down there, you memorize these scriptures, you don't apply them to yourself. Your Bible says that he comes to give you life and give you life more abundantly. If I were you, I would jump. Because that's the only way to get to that abundant life. You got to jump, man. You got to take a chance. Now, when I get through talking, there are those of you who discuss this in the car. Well, I got bills, and I got bills. Whether you stay on the cliff or you jump, you're gonna have bills. Well, if I quit my job, I'm gonna ruin my credit. If you got a job, you living check to check. Even if you got A1 credit, you can't buy nothing else no damn way. At one point in time, man, do yourself a favor. Go see what God really do. God hold you up, man. He ain't gonna let you fall. He ain't bring you this far, let you fall. Do yourself a favor, man. Before you leave this world, before you die, jump. Just jump one time. Just jump. Thank you very much.